I'm going to give you guys a quick demo of how the simulator works for the ToroMesh lighting system in a framed project like a light box. So I went to ToroMesh.com and to simulator, and now I'm in the simulator, and I'm going to select from the first list here RSE 9 LEDs. I'm going to leave it as single-sided. By default, it's the power cord or the wire harness. Units of measure, I will choose feet. I will then put, say, 4 feet by, let's say, 4 feet high. It's a square box. And I will click on Calculate and Simulate. And here you can see that I have the segments here are made of 9 LEDs and 5 LEDs. The simulator tells me that I need 2 packs of the 9 LED strips, or the RSE with 9 LEDs. But this is a mistake, because I can buy a pack of 5 LEDs, because they do come in 5 LEDs, and therefore I just need 1 pack of 9 and 1 pack of 5 to make the necessary segments here for my project. Let's say I reduce the width by, let's say we make it 3.5 feet wide. Here you see I would have to cut segments. So here there are 3. As you can tell, there are 3 LEDs. Let's go closer. 3 LEDs at the last column. What I can do is I can purchase strips with 9 LEDs and just cut them into 3. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3 strips because I cut them up and I just put them on the wire harness and so on. That way you have to play around with it and find out how many strips you really need, because the last column is always the tricky one. If it's a wide one, let's say we're going 7 feet wide, we're going to shrink this down. So here we're kind of lucky. We have 8. If I zoom in here, I have 8 columns of LEDs on this one. The rest is 9. So by buying 9s, all I have to do is cut them here. If there is some room, the simulator shows me that I have a side spacing of 4 centimeters on each side. I might not have room. I might have room. We don't want to create any hot spots between the columns. So if you can test it, and maybe you don't have to cut them, but if you do, then you just have to cut 1 single strand. You can change it up to 5 LEDs if you bought a lot of RSCs with 5 LEDs, and then it shows you here that we have a row of 1, which, you know, it could be okay. We can just kind of move this over, or move all of them over, and then we have essentially a 1 column out the door, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns of 5 LEDs, and then at the bottom we see how many watts it'll require, or the power supply. So it's fairly simple to use. I recommend you play around with it. RSEs are the strips that are linearly aligned, meaning there are no cross sections. The RSs, if I just calculate simulate, are the ones that have the cross sections, which I would not use in a system with the wire harness. It's not necessary since it's a framed application. But if I do switch it up and I used one of the connectors, then I can have a different type of system. Let me shrink this down. And so then we have a system where the connectors are involved, and maybe it's something that you require depending on what your application is. Just to have fun, we can use single modules, which is a lot of fun. And look at that. The whole thing is just chopped up into single modules using the connectors. I don't recommend you do this, but it does look great. But you can use it if you are, covering some kind of a sphere or whatever you want with these LEDs. You can chop them up, use all these connectors, and all the information is displayed below, including the power groups. When we are using it in a, again, let's go back to the RSC models, and we are using something very, very wide, like say a 12-foot box by 3 feet. We have our power groups at the bottom. Basically, you look at the columns that's written down here, and you know which column number is here. It goes with the power driver that's required. It's fairly simple. Fairly simple. Well, if you play around with it, you'll see how it works. And if you have any questions, feel free to call Levicom, and we'll be happy to help you.